So today we're going to build on the lessons that we've already been studying. The last 2 weeks we've been covering narrative writing and research. So this project is going to be based on culture, heritage, and diversity. But how much do you know about your culture and your heritage? When you hear the word culture, what do you think about? Eric?
Traditions.
Traditions? Can you tell me a tradition right on top of your head? What do you think of when you're thinking about tradition? Where are you from, by the way?
Mexico.
Mexico, okay. But your parents are from Mexico, or were you born there?
My parents were from Mexico.
Oh, your parents. Okay, so can you tell me a holiday or something that you celebrate that is popular here in the United States?
Cinco de Mayo.
Well, I do have Cinco de Mayo is very popular because they celebrate it here in the United States, even though it's not an American holiday, they still celebrate it here in America, of course, May 5th. Can you think of another one, Carlos?
Christmas.
Christmas? Well, there's different culture. That's a perfect example because different cultures, they celebrate Christmas. Some of them don't. Some celebrate Hanukkah. So, how about America? We celebrate 4th of July. And the Chinese, they celebrate the Chinese New Year. We also have a New Year here in the United States, but we celebrate it at different dates. Okay, so how much do you know about your own culture and your heritage? Just do you know where your parents come from?
Yeah.
Where?
Mexico.
Mexico? Okay. Do you know what part of Mexico they come from?
My dad's from Jalisco and my mom's from Guerrero.
Okay. That's good. A lot of students don't know. But do you think it's possible to speak the same language but still come from a different culture?
No.
You don't think so? How about you, Michelle? No. Do you think it's possible to speak the same language but come from a different culture? Yes? Good answer. Can you give me an example? Different culture. Somebody that speaks Spanish but come from a different country. Okay, I'll get back to you. But keep thinking. Carlos?
Spain and Mexico.
Spain, they speak Spanish there too. Can you think of another one now, Michelle?
California.
There's a lot of people in California who speak Spanish, but culturally, can you think of another country where they speak Spanish? That it's in South America, maybe. I'll get back to you again. Okay, let's see. So, how about when you hear the word Spanish, okay, what's the first country that comes to mind? You wanna take a shot? Mexico. You know why? Because most of the people here in the United States who speak Spanish, they come from Mexico, the majority of them. However, there's a lot more, and I'm going to show you this video. Oh, technical difficulty. My video is not working. But there are 20, let me go back. There are 21 21 Spanish speaking countries in America. And they're in South America, Central America, and North America. So Mexico is in North America. So I'm gonna give you a preview of the video I was going to show you. can you think of a country in South America who speaks Spanish? Eric? South
Argentina.
America? Argentina? That's a good example. Can you think of another one? Anyone else? Yeah,
Chile.
Chile. Have you ever heard of Shakira? Where's she from? Colombia. And I'm personally from Guatemala, which is located in Central America. So you said your parents are from Mexico. You know what part of America Mexico is? Giselle? North America, that's correct. And we have, there are 23 countries where they speak Arabic. And this is the list of countries. Did you know that before? 23. You know, sometimes we think, oh, Arabic, they probably come from Saudi Arabia or something. But we have Syria, we have Egypt, Jordan, many other countries. Okay, so we're going to, what else do you think creates diversity? Anyone? Come on, take a shot. How do you say hello in the language, in your parents? Hola. Okay, so that would mean language. That's what makes us different is we speak different languages. Sometimes we have different religion. Definitely different political views. And we've been hearing a lot of that lately, right? Right? The lady that wants to be president with Donald Trump. Who can tell me about that? What's her name? Hillary. Okay, so they have totally different political views, right? So what else is different? It could be traditions, right? We can have different ways of dancing, different ways to say hello. And how about food? What's your favorite food?
Chicken.
Chicken. But what kind of chicken?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken. Would you consider that what kind of food? Like maybe American? I'm sure in a lot of countries they eat that food, but what about this one?
Pizza.
That's my favorite. You would consider that maybe Italian food? How about this one? A burrito? That comes from where? How about this one? I'm sure we all had plenty of these, right? Hamburger, American, Mexican, Italian. Okay, so for the project, I'm gonna go through the project that we're gonna work on. So you need to know how much of where your family comes from, so you need to interview one or two of your relatives, as many as you can. Okay, so why do you think this is important? Carlos? Why do you think that it is important to know about our heritage, about our culture?
To understand where we come from.
You understand where you come from, but why do you need to know where you come from? Maybe we need to, well, I think it's important because we need to know where we come from. okay? And this graphic organizer, you're going to tell me, introduce yourself and tell me where you come from and your guess. And these are just some sample questions. You can use whatever you want. But these are like basic questions. Tell me about my relatives, about my heritage. When did our relatives come into this country? And so on. So this part is very important because you're going to be assessed independently. So this is your own thing. And you will be turning it in, and I will give you the okay with the information that you have, because this is going to become a very important part of your project. You're also going to be required to create a family tree. You can either use my template and just filling the spaces there, give me a brief description, or you can use pictures. And on a separate page, you can write down the descriptions of your family members. I think this can become a very fun project if you get creative and you say, you know what, I want to make my own thing, and you're welcome to do so. Okay, so that's also going to be graded separately, but you're also going to be required to work with a partner. I know in the past we've been working in groups a lot, but this time you're only going to pick one partner, and whose culture is going to be completely different. Okay, so you have any questions about this? Yeah, Eric?
Can we choose our partners?
You can choose, you're more than welcome to choose your own partner, but like I said before, you need to make sure they're different cultures. But why? Because you're gonna be working on the research together, and then you're going to find things that are the same, different, and then you're going to use a Venn diagram to compare. So you're gonna find things are the same, things are different, and then that's gonna become part of your final project. This is gonna be graded independently as well as a group. Okay, so this is the most fun part, okay? Who loves movies here? Right? Well, guess what? You get to make your own. You're going to, have you ever heard of a digital story before? Okay, so this is where the narrative part comes, okay? When you wrote your narrative papers, you have to, explain, it was the story you were telling us, right? Well, this one, you're going to bring it to life, okay? So you can use either iMovie program, or you can use any other program that you may find. And you can also use the classroom cameras, your smartphones. I know you love to be on your smartphones. Okay, so you also can use the tablets. And you can also use the Chromebooks to do research or edit your videos. However, make sure you use the number that was assigned to you when you grab your equipment and you check in and check it out with me, okay? And I'm going to allow you to go outside and take video footage, whatever you need to do. Okay, so I want to give you kind of like a brief explanation of how you're going to be assessed for this, because this is very important. I'm going to be handing out a rubric, but I need you to review the rubric before you start your project, because so you know what's expected of you. Okay? As you turn in your work, you're going to know if you are meeting the objectives. If you turn in your graphic organizer and I grade it for you and I tell you it looks good, then there's part of your grade. In your rubric is going to be based on where you're going to present your group work. So these are important areas that you need to focus on. You need to focus on collaboration and research. Family interview, you have to include that, both of them. You also need to include your family tree. And your presentations, please, needs to be creative, and you have to include plenty of visuals and video footage and photos and music, whatever you want. But you need to make it creative. And most importantly, I need a good narration. Okay? Even if you have to retake whatever you need to do, make sure that you and your partner both participate equally, including the narrations, okay? So these are some resources that I'm going to have available on Haiku, on the online website for the school. And you can find instructions and guidelines of how to make a digital movie. You also find examples of digital stories. I really encourage you to do that because I want you to get an idea, especially if you've never done one before or seen one before. I think it would be a good resource. And this is the information I already gave you before, the narrative writing. Okay? So, do you have any questions regarding this project? Come on, I'm sure you can think of something. Yeah. When is it due? That's a great question. This is gonna be due in 4 days. This is the first day of your lesson because we're gonna get you into groups, and then tomorrow you can start you're gonna go and do your interview for your family. So by Friday, this is gonna be due. Okay? Now, if you're struggling and you're falling behind, then you can talk to me. And I'll probably give you a break and maybe an extra day, because we're going to be presenting Friday. And after Friday, maybe we can extend it to Monday, okay? So, I don't want you to feel pressure, but I don't want you to procrastinate either, because then you could go, oh, I can wait until Monday. No, okay? So, do you have any more questions? Eric, I see a question.
No.
Anybody else? Okay, well, then tomorrow, how about if we start getting into partners now? Okay, so you said that your parents are from Mexican background, and you? Guatemala. That's perfect. So you can get together even though you speak the same language, or your countries speak the same language. You can compare and contrast. I'm sure you're gonna find a lot of things are the same, but you're gonna find a lot of things are different. How about you? Where are you from? El Salvador. That's in Central America. And maybe you want to pair up with Michelle? Where did you tell me you were from? Or your parents, I'm sorry.
California.
Oh, California. That's good. Okay, so you can just, if you want to just talk about it later, and then we're gonna get into a discussion after you get your graphic organizer, so maybe you have a better understanding of who you want your partner to be. Okay? Well, thank you. And I think the bell's gonna ring for 5 minutes, so you can start grabbing your papers. We have 4 different papers that you need to pick up. You have your graphic organizer, your rubric, your template for the family tree, and your, what was the last one? Well, you can also pick one of those. I have one of those available, the narrative writing, or you can get online too. See, there's 4 papers over there on your way out